Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the Phanteks Enthoo Pro case, which was originally released back in 2014. I was interested in this case because I was searching for something that could house my 5¼ Blu-ray drive, plus multiple 3.5" HDDs, and still have adequate airflow to cool a system like mine with a 350W GPU and 250W CPU. The closed panel version of the case, which is the one I chose, includes a 200mm fan in the front and a 140 fan in the rear, but it has options for 120 and 140 fans in the front, base and roof of the case. It can also accommodate up to a 420mm radiator in the roof with a max thickness of 65mm, or an additional 200mm fan in the roof, so the cooling options looked quite decent. The case has 3 5¼ bays at the front, so I can even add extra accessories there if I want. The front I/O is hidden behind this flappy panel which locks into place when open. The original case released with 2 USB 2 ports and 2 USB 3 ports and no USB-C on the front I/O. But Phanteks updated the front I/O a few years back, so my case arrived with the updated front I/O featuring 2 USB 3 and 1 USB-C ports, with separate audio ports. The case has a filter which pulls out from the base for any fans mounted as intake there. And the PSU filter pulls out from the back. Looking at the main chamber, you can see 2 2.5" drive mounts mounted on the right side just under the 5¼ bays, which have clips for holding the drives in place while you secure them. Moving to the back, you can see the 6 3.5" drive bays, the cable routing and mansion paths, and a built-in PWM fan hub. With the drive sleds pulled up from the cages, you can see that the cages have screws that can be removed to take out the cages entirely if desired. And from the front you can see the 120mm fan mounts underneath where the bottom drive cage was mounted. Moving on to the accessory box, you can see the manual, additional Velcro straps and cable ties, a box of assorted screws for pretty much any component you'd need, nicely organised into separate compartments. And there is a plate for mounting a reservoir to if you're doing a custom water loop. This plate attaches to the side of the 3.5" cages in the main chamber. For my build, I'll be using the Blu-ray drive I mentioned earlier, and this 5¼ bay USB adapter, which I've had for a while now and was just sitting in a drawer. So, I decided to start the build by placing a 140mm fan in the base as intake, and get the various drives in place before the rest so they could get the cables sorted. With the PSU and motherboard in place, you can see how many extra cables a build like this adds from a standard gaming build. So there were a good few cable ties used to keep things out of the way as much as possible. and with the main chamber fully populated, you can see that there aren't any cables resting against the bottom intake fan or GPU fans. Moving to the back, you can see that the bulk of the cables are managed. The front USB adapter accounts for most of the extra cable bulk, but Phanteks provided enough tie-down points and Velcro straps to keep everything under control, enough to get the back panel on anyway. With everything up and running, I decided to try out a couple of games to see how the temperatures were. My cooling setup was just with the included 200mm intake fan, the 140mm intake fan in the base, and a 140mm fan in the rear as exhaust. So only 3 case fans in total. The first game here is Robocop Rogue City, which can be a graphically demanding game, but the system temps are completely fine. Then to Grid Legends, which I've been replaying a bit recently. It's less demanding and the system temps are fine running the game on very high settings at 1440p. So overall I'm very happy with the results. It's nice to get back to a case that can house my Blu-ray drive and still provide decent cooling for my system. The drive capacity is also very nice to have if I need to expand the storage at some stage. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching.